Did you miss anything by not being here for the voluntary OTAs?
I don't think so. I mean, I missed 9 OTA practices. You know what I mean? But besides that, mentally, I had the iPad. I was able to look at the film when I needed to. Um, got back out to practice yesterday. It felt pretty good to be back out there. I didn't feel like I was behind or anything like that. A couple new drills, things like that. But overall, no, I did not.
Did you just feel you paid your dues at this
Uh,
point?
um, it's a voluntary program, and I think every player can examine it on their own, if they feel like they want to be here, if they, feel like they want to be at home with their family, and that's kind of the choice I made. It wasn't a pay to do things. It just was, the best opportunity for me, physically and mentally to be at home with the family.
Was it related to last off season? Obviously, JC was leading that movement, and you become more involved in the union. Was it related to kind of an NFLPA stance?
I think the NFLPA just wants it to be voluntary. It's been a thing that kind of like unquestioned voluntary, you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to be there, but it's just a voluntary opportunity. And if guys want to make that opportunity one way or the other, I think it's that. But for me, I just evaluate it on a personal basis. And, we have 2 young kids at home, and, my mom, kids, grandma, sister, brother, we're all out there. So I got to be around the family, and that was good for me.
Are you
Joe,
a
how,
player right now?
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joe, how much have you grown to appreciate the history of the Browns since you've been a part of the team?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. As a kid, I didn't know as much. You come here and you've seen from '99 till now, and the history's there, but it's not the same. And then you kind of look back, and it was like before the Super Bowl era. 17 Hall of Famers, multiple championships, some of the best players to ever play the game. Innovators. Some of the best coaches that ever played the game have come through here, and you kind of get a respect of why the Browns fans are the Browns fans the way they are. There's such a history, and they kind of want to get back to that point. And it's it's pretty spectacular, the history of the team. And Coach Stefanski's done a good job telling a lot of younger guys, and that's, I think, the reason we're here today, to see that and be a part of it. But it's pretty amazing, some of the stuff the organization has done over the years.
There's been a pretty big focus team building this offseason. How much of that was needed, and can you feel a difference?
Yeah, I think every team's different. The NFL is such a turnover, league. You lose in good years, you're still losing like 20% of your roster, and so, you bring in a new quarterback, you bring in a new receiver, you bring in a bunch of new guys. Like there's going to be times that you get to know those guys. So I think that was a main emphasis, and even some of the guys, the Bahamas trip and things like that. There was times outside the facility where guys are getting together and being part of the team.
Joel, can you address, obviously a lot has happened since we talked to you last, so for starters, what were your thoughts on the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, and just how do you feel about everything surrounding him?
Yeah, he's a heck of a football player. Played against him. He's gotten the best of us, I think, a couple times that I've played him in my career. And he's a heck of a player, and he does some things on the field that are really special, really unique, and he does that. I crossed over with him at the Pro Bowl a couple times, and had the trip with the Bahamas where I got to know him, and all that stuff is, in court, and they have legal battles to go through. But in this NFL, you're trying to get better, and you're trying to find ways to win. And Deshaun Watson's a special football player.
Joel, last year when Joe said he expects you to end up in Canton someday, you said you hadn't even thought. Today, do you think about it?
It's a cool experience, and there's so many great players in the NFL that you just got to play the game and really see what happens. There's so much that goes into it. You can have the credentials, you can have the things. It's a vote, at the end of the day. And you just want to, for me, it's just pushing myself to be the best player I can be. And then at the end of the career, we'll see what happens.
Miles said he's not stepping foot in the hall until he's there. Do you share that superstition? And if so, how do you handle today?
I've already been in the hall, so rookie symposium, I was there before, so I don't have that superstition. But no, it's such a history of the game. You can almost use it to motivate yourself. Miles might not need that motivation, but you see some of the best players to ever play, and guys that have built this game, and so it's pretty cool place.
Joel, can you talk about, you were pretty close to Baker Mayfield, you always supported Baker. Can you talk about kind of how things ended for him? Are you still in touch? How's he doing, and where is this going?
Yeah, Baker was my guy. I I still remember, the Thursday night Jets game when he came into the game and helped lead us to victory. And that was, honestly one of the more special moments in my career, just because it had been so long since we won games. And he's a tough guy, and he played his heart. He played his heart out for us, and I always respect that. He's still a friend of mine. We text occasionally, and I think like everybody else, he's kind of waiting it out to see where he's going. But no, Baker did a lot for this franchise. He won a lot of games. He was a great player for us, and I'll always be a friend.
Outlook for his career, you think he'll go on to have great success?
Yeah, I mean, he's always had that chip on his shoulder, and I'm sure it's continuing to get bigger and bigger. A team's going to give him a chance. I know the contract situation's working itself out, but he'll get a chance to play. Quarterback's such a scarcity in this league that he's going to have a chance to play and perform again.
Looking back, I mean, how much do you think injury was a role for him and for you guys as a whole last season?
Yeah, it's tough. It's the NFL, and sometimes you have bad injury luck, and for him, he obviously had a hurt shoulder, hurt enough to get surgery, and I'm sure it affected him. I didn't have that conversation with him, how much it's affecting you. I don't know those details and what goes behind closed doors. I go out there and play with the guys, but injuries affect them, and that was definitely part of it.
Joel, you've seen some stuff here in your time. What makes you think this team can be the one that ends up being better?
Yeah, I think we have good leadership. I think Andrew Berry and Coach Stefanski kind of started off, and you lead from the top down, and I think there's players with experience on this team. I've seen what not to do a few times, and so hopefully we can turn that to what to do, and we've won a playoff game before with, a lot of these guys, and there's players from winning programs that have been here. I think we do have the guys, I think we have the coaches, and I think we have the experience now to, make a charge for this.
You mentioned the coaches. Third year in a row you've had the same coordinators, basically the same coaching staff. How big has that been for you guys?
Oh, it's huge. Usually if you have a new coach, you come into OTAs and you're learning a whole new playbook. Now we're putting some wrinkles in. There's obviously some new stuff for Deshaun, but right now it's perfecting your craft. It's learning the details of things. You get so much more detailed work than just putting in a playbook. It's huge. You see some of those teams that have been together forever, with coaches and quarterbacks and players, and that stuff really does help.
You mentioned it right there, but with the quarterback change, do you think the offense is going to be a little bit different, a lot different? Where do you kind of think it goes on that scale?
Yeah, I think, you guys know Coach Stefanski's, strategy. He likes to run the ball. He likes to play action off the run. But when you have a player like Deshaun, I think you're going to work to his strengths as well. And, we'll see the playbook when it comes out, but I'm sure there'll be some wrinkles in there.
Joel, how do you feel about the depth of the offensive line?
I think it's good. It's probably one of the more deep O-line groups I've been on. There's a lot of players that can play, like guys with experience too, Michael Dunn and Blake Hance and Poe, coming over from Seattle. All those guys are like NFL experience. Chris Hubbard has started a lot of games in his career. James got some experience last year, and those are all guys that aren't projected to even start for the team, and they've had tons of starts in their career. Plus, you bring in some rookies, some draft picks, and you got a good depth. It's going to be great competition in camp to see who makes the team.
Speaking of Chris Hubbard, can you just address? I mean, that guy's been hurt the last 2 years, but it looks like he just keeps plugging away. And
yeah.
What kind of inspiration is he?
He loves the game of football. He's been here. He's one of the longest guys that with the Browns. He's been with me for a while now, and he works hard. He loves the game, and the best thing about him is he can do anything for the O-line. He can play any position really, and he's eager to play. I know he's a little frustrated with injuries, but he's come back and he seems like he's in great shape and working hard.
You guys mentioned how excited you are having Deshaun here, but there's a real possibility you guys might not have him to start the season. Just so how top of mind is that for you guys, that the potential's there that he may not even be available?
Yeah, it's definitely a potential. It's one of those things, though, for me personally, I can't really control much with it, so I try not to worry about those things, and we'll go into the season. I think we have, really good quality backup quarterbacks that have played a lot of football, in Jacoby and Josh, and, it's one of those things that it might happen, it might not, we don't know, and we can't truly worry about it, but if it does, I think we have the right character in the room to handle that adversity.
Hey, Joel, going back to Miles for a second, you've taken the low-key approach when asked about the Hall of Fame. Before he even played, he was saying this was a goal for him, to make it here. What does that say about him?
Yeah, it's one of his motivations. you know, I think we all know he's one of the best, you know, pass rushers in the NFL, one of the best defensive players, and he, you know, a lot of the Hall of Fame is longevity, though. How long can you do it? And I think it's just one of his goals, you know, and that's something special about him. He works hard at it. He wants to be the best, and he wants to be around the best. He wants to be noticed as the best, and everybody kind of has those different motivations, and that's one for him.